everybody. How are we doing out in HVAC internet world? Hope everybody's doing great. Let me know where everybody's at. Who's here? Who's watching? Do I have anybody online? Hopefully, I see a few people here. We have Alemania and oh, the Grit Foundation's here. I know them. So today we're going to talk about, and Christian, thank you, Christian, for being here. Today we're talking about the Grit Foundation, and this is super, super important to me. It's been absolutely awesome. So we're going to talk about some of the intro stuff. We're going to talk about what we're doing in the Grit Camp, and specifically about some of the mentor side of things. So I think it's absolutely awesome. Oh, and we got Colorado checking in. Thank you, Megan. So glad you're here. Whoa, everything HVAC, Louis, Mr. Gonzalez, fantastic from San Antonio. AWHVAC, thank you guys for stopping in. This is really cool. Oh, Froggy, hey, what's up, man? Old friends, this is excellent. So now I feel better knowing that somebody's watching. So everything, man, you're awesome. I love your videos. So yeah, man, the Grit Foundation. Have you guys heard of it? Who's actually heard of the Grit Foundation? Does anybody actually know what it is, or is this completely new to you? What do you guys know about it so far? Delaware. We were just in Delaware. We just went through super fast, met two really awesome instructors and their families. Can't wait to go back and hang out in Delaware. It's actually really cool, or definitely cooler than it was here in hot Texas. How's my audio? Can you guys hear me? I was on a new platform, so trying to make sure everything else is good. Make sure everything's sounding really good. And geez, I'm excited. I haven't been live in, gosh, wow, months. So this is like super, super cool. Grit Foundation sounds like something I'd be interested in. Yes, I know you, and it's definitely something that you would be interested in. You was one of them. Yes. Well, I wasn't sure with AW, but yes, awesome. I can't wait to go hang out. And now that your school's in session, definitely want to see if I can stop by and say hi to your class. And it sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Louis. Appreciate that. Well, let's get started in. The Grit Foundation. This is the brainchild of Brian Orr and Rashir. Also, Brian and Rashir came in to be the founders and said, hey, a lot of people are talking about the fact that we need more people in the trades. But there's not like a lot of people doing anything about it. And so Brian's like, hey, let's do something about it. And so he had this idea back in, gosh, I think it was October, of like, hey, what we could do. Venezuela, fantastic. That's so cool. About what we could do to get more people actually into the trade. And I love that we're talking about this. I mean, that's great. But then we need actually something to happen. And, it's like we can't rely on the school system to do it. There's a few great schools, like one in Delaware, that you guys are actually reaching young people right there in school, which is awesome. But generally, they've taken trades out of school altogether, and trying to get that change is a super, super uphill battle. Like it's a big deal, and we just can't rely on a government agency to fix anything. I mean, come on, we've seen how that happens. AT Mata, man, I love you, man. This guy's awesome. So Brian's like, hey, let's start working with what we can do. And we do know contractors, and we know that contractors are the people that say, hey, we have this trade shortage. So how about we work with the contractors to actually get something done? So this is kind of like a shop class that contractors host. And it can also be schools. We've typically avoided a lot of the schools just because you have so much red tape. Every time I've talked to a school about doing this, there's like, oh, well, what about this and what about that? We do know that we work with HVAC contractors, and they're like, hey, let's get this done. That's what we do. We overcome problems. We get things done. We could do an install. So like, this isn't really going to be ideal. We don't have everything lined out. We'll have to come back and schedule this 6 months from now. No, we figure it out. We have a part we can't get. We have to figure out how to get the customer cooling. So that's what we do. We figure things out. And so with the trade side, hey, let's reach your local community. Let's get the local community trying to make the difference, right? I mean, we solve problems. We get stuff done. We have the biggest need of everybody. So that's what we're doing. By we, this is Brian Rashir's brainchild, and I am just so excited that they invited me to be a part of this because I am loving it. It's been like the most important thing I think I've ever done. It's been absolutely incredible. So essentially what we do is we go to a contractor, or the contractor comes to us and says, look, I want to make a difference in my local community. And they decide to host a Grit Camp. And from there, they start the ball rolling. We've put together an incredible guide. It is like, oh my gosh, it was so much work. Leilani put in, it ended up being an actual book on here, but she came out with the Grit Guide. And there is so much detail in here, but it lines everything out. So, hey, I want to know if I can host one of these. Hey, cool. You can go through the guide. It actually has the checklist and everything you're going to need to do Oh, that's for the book printed. We have this on PDF. You can have this printed out. You can look at it just on paper, but it's got the checklist, all the stuff you're going to need to make it happen. And you go into your local community. It's like, hey, I want to make this happen. We got the guide. We can look at it, say we can make this happen. We work at the next step. Let's get a date together. Once we get a date put in, we try to get as many of them as we can. We can't promise we're going to beat all of them, but we try to get as many as we can, at least that first one. And we say, hey, let's get a date put in. Let's start making an impact in the community. And then we start training for the Socratic method, which is kind of what this is about today. It's kind of an introductory version of that. And then it's about getting kids excited about the trades. They're going to be working with their hands. They're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff. And it's about introducing them to that, letting them have an introduction to shop, guys, letting them discover the trades. And as much as I love HVAC, it's not just HVAC. It's also looking at carpentry, some plumbing, some brazing, and electrical, all these different, just an introductory to the trades so they can start getting interested in it. And we're talking younger kids between 12 to 17. That's kind of the age group we're looking at. So before they're making that college decision, they're now looking at other opportunities. Maybe they go through this one-day program and they're like, man, I love this. I could do this for a career. And their mentor that they're working with is a tradesperson, does this every day. They're like, wow, I had a great time doing this. I have a mentor that's in the field that does this. So it's not just like I'm building a birdhouse. It's like I'm actually working with a tradesperson, does this for a living. I could see myself doing this. And now they're at least considering the trades. Or maybe they're going to work their way on the trades, work their way through college. That's also a win. Now they have an appreciation for the trades or working their way through college or being out of debt. It's awesome. And then there have been some students who are like, hey, this was really great. I want to go to college. What do I want to do? Hey, great. We support you in that. But now you have an appreciation for the tradespeople. You have appreciation for these skills that we develop. So all the way around, it's a win. And it's how to start making an impact in your local community. Introducing people to the trades. Letting them discover the trade. So I think it's absolutely awesome. And what they end up building is this, but it's not about this at all. It's about them getting to use their hands. And for the first time, they're going to take something from paper, just blueprints that are from paper, and they're going to make something out of it. And we have a bigger sheet for them to go through, but essentially they take blueprints and they make something from paper to something that they actually get to take home. They actually get to physically do something. I know a lot of kids now, they're really into the Roblox or Minecraft. I don't keep up with the gaming. I apologize if I'm butchering that. But they don't get to take anything home. They then spend all this time in it doing it, but they don't have anything to show for it. So this way, they actually have to do this themselves, and they have something to show for it. And it's just an introductory. We talk about the carpentry side. We got the plumbing side, brazing, electrical. This is just an example, like the little lights coming on, right? Using a meter, and then the lunch side to talk about air and all the sciencey stuff. And again, it's not about building a box, but them doing something, them practicing through it, which is so cool to see the kids so excited about working with their hands. I mean, they get so into it. I mean, that's awesome. I remember when I was building stuff in forts and stuff, I got to work with my hands. Think about today. How many kids didn't get to have a garage with their dad's tools full of stuff? How many kids never got to experience it? Even some of our own trades kids, they haven't got to experience it. We're out working all the time. We're out doing stuff. We don't think about even our own kids getting to experience the trades, something for fun. Instead of our dad yelling at us to hold the flashlight right, they're actually getting to do something for themselves. And so it's been a really awesome thing. For me, one of the things that really made an impact, there was this one camp we'd gone to, and this kid was like not into it. He didn't look like he was into it. He was just, focused in, wouldn't break a smile for nothing. Not even with my incredibly awesome dad jokes. And I was like, well, we can't get to everybody, and that's okay. But then the next day I got to talk to that kid's parents. And the parents said, wow, that he was going on for like 2 hours about every detail of the box and all these things he learned. And normally he didn't talk about anything from school. And I thought that's pretty cool. Also to see these kids go for 6 hours and not be on their phones, like, that's really awesome. But that's only part of it. I mean, we know that the kids side of it, it's a really big deal. But also the mentors. We do this job. We work with their hands all the time. And sometimes it's a thankless job. People don't see what we do. We don't get the recognition. I know we don't do it for the fame or recognition, but you're always doing this. You're doing this work. But now You're getting to do this work and show a kid, and they're like, wow, this is really cool. And it gives you that positive feeling of like, yeah, I do have skills. We've done this for so long, we've taken it for granted. Reading a tape measure, we've done it for so long, it's no big deal. A 6-in-1 screwdriver, the fact that how it works, how it moves, the fact you can do this. Kids, they don't know that. A lot of them don't know that. They're discovering that. These are things we just take for granted. Marking the screws and all, there's a whole many details. And seeing people get excited about it, seeing people go, man, I do have skills. I am worth something. So it also builds them up. But then there's a third factor. We're going to talk about this a little bit today, the Socratic method. How to teach with curiosity, how to teach with questions. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. And it's easier to do that with kids. But once you realize, hey, it's a much more fun way of teaching, it's a much more positive way of learning. Imagine if you applied that to your trainees, your apprentices. I mean, how awesome would that? I mean, so super exciting, super loving this. Before we get started, I'm going to run through like a whole great, I'm not going to cover everything. I only have an hour. And you know me, I can talk for 4, 5, 6 hours. Like, I love this stuff. But I'm going to try to keep it condensed. But before we get started, if anybody has any questions, I'm trying to keep up with the chat. I sometimes struggle with that, but I'm trying to keep up with the chat. And I appreciate you guys being here. Like, this is important to me, and it just means a lot seeing all these wonderful people here in the chat. Like, it makes my day. And if you haven't, chime in. Let me know where you're from, where you're coming from. We got people from Delaware to Colorado to Venezuela, so it's like San Antonio, super exciting. So when we start out with this grit camp, oh man, yes, my man, Upper New York, yes, awesome. Ellie, I appreciate you. So we start out with the grit camp, and think of an escape room. I know a lot of people haven't been to an escape room, but escape room I've done it a couple of times, kind of fun. So you go through and you kind of look for clues, and you have to like unlock the next level, and you go to the next room, and then eventually you get to escape. We've designed this to be kind of like an escape room, except this is the blueprints. We give them actually a guide they get to go through. And so what we can do, let me add this one to the stage. We just have this blueprint set up. And one of the cool things that Brian did was he decided to make the wood side of it as being inside dimensions. Actually, we're gonna back up a little bit. We give them blueprints, and we're like, hey, you're gonna take something from paper and make it into something in reality. But the key is, what does all this even mean? How does it even apply? We're just gonna come in and do something with our hands? Like, no, think about the construction side. Think about the trade side. Think about the house that you live in. And a lot of kids never thought about this. Detroit, oh, we were just there. Think about not having a house to live in. Think about what happened when it's the summertime and it's 100 degrees outside and full of humidity and you don't have any shelter. It's raining or it's snowing and it's freezing and you don't have any shelter. So the wood is an essential part of our lives. It's an essential part of what we do. We've taken it for granted. All the little details about the screws and all the stuff that makes that structure go together, it's essential. Then we talk about the plumbing side. Imagine if you had to go outside to use the bathroom, or you had to go out to the river and bring water in for every single thing you did, and then you didn't have a drain, so everything had to be outside of the house. And the kids are like, what? They just like can't even imagine that. They're like, I never even thought about that before. So now we talk about the plumbing, we talk about the HVAC. Imagine if you didn't have any air conditioning. Imagine how hot it would get in the summertime or how cool it would be in the wintertime. So now they're thinking about more of this stuff, the things they never thought about. And then we hit them with the big one. We hit them with the electrical side. It's like, man, imagine if you didn't have electricity. You would have a really hard time having any air conditioning, but then you couldn't play your video games. You couldn't have lights. You had to go to sleep when the sun went down, or you had to wake up as soon as the sun gets up and gets everything rolling. And they're like, what? I never thought about these things before. And it's a little bit longer than that, but we just build excitement around the trades, things that these kids have never thought about. Then we roll into a safety side of it. We have to cover safety. And that safety side, we put them in a vest. We get the safety glasses. We got gloves out, so we make them feel official. We even get them the name badges. And for us, like sometimes wearing the name badge isn't always fun, but it's cool because this is the first time that they felt like an adult. Like, look, I'm an official. I have a name badge. And we make sure we have it on them like all the time. And they're like, yes, like I'm an adult. This is an adult thing. And then we take them back out there. We have the construction zone. So they're wearing their safety vest. And we go into putting the safety vest on. And of course, that's important because now they're invested in it, right? It's important to be invested in what you're doing. All right. And then we have the tool belt. Now this one's the one that Brian and I disagreed on. Brian and Leilani's like, it's a nail apron. I'm like, please, could we please call it a tool belt? Like, well, Ty, you like official terms. And it's really a nail apron. It's what it is. I'm like, can we call it a tool apron? Can we just please call it a tool belt? And so they caved for me. And so, yeah, we got the little tool belt. We got to put it on. It feels, hey, official. They have a place to put their gloves and their tape measure. And essentially, we know that kids set stuff down. They forget where they set it. And I say kids, but I do the same thing. I set something down. I can't remember where it is. If you don't believe me, ask Perla. Hey, Perla, where did I leave this? Where did I leave that? So, yeah, super important part. And then also the safety glasses, making sure we have that on. But also, we don't just make the kids wear them. And if you're going to be a mentor at one of these camps, you got to wear your safety glasses too, because we want you setting an example. We don't want you losing your eyes. It's clearly an easy problem to see, so make sure that there's safety glasses on. But now they're feeling like an adult. Hey, I have all this official gear on. Then we give them once they got all their safety stuff, we give them their tools, their tape measure, we got their grit screwdriver, their 6-in-1 screwdriver, we give them markers, we get the Sharpie marker, the regular marker, and we say, okay, we're ready to go start this project. And we assign them with the mentor, which is going to be you guys. You guys are going to be the mentor. You're going to be mentoring them and helping guide them for the future. And we give them their official form. And it's like, wow, we're official. We're going to start this. We're going to roll through this. And so now we walk them out and they have their table set up. And they are like, hey, Reliable, man, it's so awesome you're here. I appreciate you being here. We're going to come down south and hang out with you, especially when the weather cools down. And so we have this right here. Like, okay, we have these blueprints, but it's like an escape room. We have to solve this problem before we can go to the next one. So then it's like, all right, how are we going to build this? And they haven't seen this before at all. Like, this is all out of the way. They only see the paper. And it says in here, a piece of wood. Well, what are we going to do? So somewhere we have wood set out. And wouldn't you know it, here we have some pre-cut pieces. Now, when I say pre-cut, it's not 8 foot. Because what we found in the first camp, they were walking around with boards and just about knocking everybody over. So we had them pre-cut down to a little bit smaller length. But now they have the wood. So they have to go actually get the wood and bring it back to their table. So it's not just the fact of, oh, we have all these pieces here. No, you have to go get the wood, bring it back to your table. And then it's like, well, look on the blueprints. What does the blueprint say? And this is what's cool, because Brian made it a little bit more difficult. And even some of the mentors mess up with this. We can see right here, it is the inside dimensions, although the board needs the outside dimensions. Oh my gosh, what do we do? It's not the right size. And this is funny because some of the mentors actually mess up on that, and we just roll with it, right? We don't correct people. We don't correct mentors in front of the kids, but they see that it's the inside diameter. We need the outside diameter. And then that leads some of the curiosity. We're not telling them this, like we ask them. We're asking them these questions. What do you think we should cut it for? And they're like, I don't know. How do we get the end? I don't know. And every mentor has a little bit different way of doing it. But what's cool is they get to measure the 2x4. And then they get to discover for themselves for the first time that a 2x4 is not actually 2x4. What? It's not actually a 2x4. That blows their mind. And here's what's funny is because we went to one of the big box stores and we got some boards and it didn't have the tag on it, and the guy was actually measuring it. And he's like, oh, we don't even have, this is a faulty one because it's not 2x4. We don't have it in stock. And I should have said something, but I was like, let's just see how this plays out. Anyways, we got a discount because it wasn't an actual 2x4. The guy at the hardware store didn't know that. So these kids get to discover that. You'd be surprised at how many adults don't know that. So then they get to realize that a tape measure is not actually a tape measure. But here's the cool thing. You're also teaching them math because it's using fractions. It's using fractions. So now they're actually taking this blueprint, which is also a fun one. Why is it? It's not even blue. Why are you calling it a blueprint? Which is another fun conversation. But now over here it says 15 and a half. Well, now we have to add 15 and a half plus the thickness of a 2x4. And if you don't know, go measure it. I'm not going to tell you. Go measure it. And then so now we have the 2x4. They have to add it together. And then we have the next one. The next one is they have to mark it for 13 1/4. Well, 13 1/4, what? But that's all the outside dimensions. We need the inside dimensions. And so now they're having fun being able to use a tape measure, and they're having fun actually adding and subtracting fractions. Like, they're naturally doing it. And then they're like, hey, what do all these lines mean? How do I know what that means? And then you get to roll in and explain to them about what those lines mean. You would be surprised how many people don't know that. And that's okay to not know that. That's because reading a tape measure is a skill that we've taken for granted. We don't yell at them, you should know that. No, we get the opportunity to teach them what those numbers mean. And that's a fun thing. Now they're asking you, hey, what do these numbers mean? I don't just go in and start showing them. I wait for them to ask me. And it's cool. Now they're learning how to read a tape measure. And with that wood, there's so much you can teach with just a piece of wood. So now we need to make that mark. Well, we give them a pencil and also a marker. And I let them use the marker because they always want to go to the marker first. And what happens when you put a mark on a piece of wood where you want it? Let's see. Well, goodness gracious, look how wide that is. Oh, how are you going to even know where we're at? We're talking about a fraction of an inch. And this big old marker soaked in, and well, that's not going to work well. So we get to show them, hey, what if we do it again with a pencil? We can make the mark on it. Look how much thinner it is. Okay, so we put it side by side. They're like, oh, well, that makes more sense. And then you've unlocked a new skill for them. And then a cool thing is some of the camps, people will have their square or their triangle, right? But we actually like it when they don't have this because then they get to realize, how do I make a straight mark? And you're teaching them new skills, stuff we've taken for granted. You get to actually use the tape measure and you get to mark the other side of it and use something else as a straight edge to make the line across there. So all of these things are things they get to figure out. And then a big one, and this is funny because it's not funny making fun of people, but a lot of mentors, they don't know about the wood. They don't know about which side to cut the line, to cut on with the saw. So when we take it out to the saw, it's one of the questions we get to ask. Which side of the line do we cut on? And I let them think about it. And they're like, well, geez, we should split the difference. Well, how thick is the saw blade? Like, there's all these things that you can do about getting them interested in the wood and making the cuts. Like, it's so much in there. And then with the saw, now that's probably the most dangerous part of the whole thing, the saw. So we keep it unplugged. We keep it out of the way. We make sure it has the guard. We make sure it has the clamps. And when they take it out, they have to literally go out to the saw, to that station with their mentor, and they put it in the clamps. Yes, the full safety way. And then they go through, and we have them use one hand. We plug it in, one hand. They pull it down to make sure it's good. Then they power it up. And the first time these kids power up a saw, and they jump back, and they're like, oh my gosh, that was scary. And it's like, hey, try it again. Some of them just like naturally get it. Some of them have to really like work at it. It's so exciting seeing them get curious about the trade. Something as simple as a saw to us we've taken for granted. And they get to make that first cut. Maybe they don't go all the way through the first time. And they get to do it again. And eventually they get the first one cut. Then they cut the next one. And the next thing you know, have all their boards cut. And then there's so much freedoms there. Like some of them, we have some of the mentors will have it measured and they add the actual length of the saw, the width that the saw is taken out for the next cuts. Others have them go make one cut, come back, mark the next one, and make another cut. There's not a wrong way as long as it comes out pretty close. And when I say coming out pretty close, some of them end up being really, really far off. And that's okay. We don't care. We're not looking for perfection. It's not like they're going to be taking this and putting it in one of these high-dollar art galleries that I can't even pronounce. No, they're getting to experience the trades. It's okay that it's not perfect. So they get through and they're learning how to do carpentry. When it comes to the screws, we've had some specific things like what type of screw to use. And so we use the screws with the T25 ends on it. And the reason we chose that one is because it's less likely to slip. When we do the Phillips screw, like it slips and spins, the T25s locks in. And I learned that from Mr. Craig Michelaccio. He's like, oh, we should use these. They're much better. The length of so much work of all of the previous camps to get the right size screws that work the best. And then some of them, in the drier climates, we learned that we had to actually pre-drill the wood because when we went to the one in Phoenix, the wood was so dry it split. Others of them, we found we don't have to pre-drill the wood. We can just drive them straight in and the wood's just fine. All these little things about carpentry. And there's things that I didn't know about carpentry. This backing plate that we use, This lightweight wood, this is called Luan. I learned that from Craig Michelaccio. I learned so much about working with him because I'm not a carpenter. So finding this right wood, and we pre-cut these for the kids beforehand, and then the kids get to put that on the backing, and they get to actually make the carpentry side. They put it all together, and even the finish nails. And on these finish nails, I asked Craig, I was like, hey, Craig, can we get some American nails? And he goes, no, no, they have to be finish nails. And Craig, he was a carpenter before he was an HVAC, so I definitely trusted him on that one. So even though we couldn't use American nails, the finished ones were the ones that we chose to use, and they work. And they work really, really well. So that's the carpentry side. The next side, after they've unlocked that, they're like, oh, man, we've got that down. Now you get to sign off on this. You get to complete that. Then you get to go to the next step. Down here we have the plumbing side, the HVAC side. And of the whole thing, all of these pieces, they go together in the box. So that means there has to be a hole drilled in each end of the box. But the hole for the PVC is going to be a different size than the hole for the copper. And it says that on the plans, but you have to be looking for that. And sometimes the mentors will overlook that one. Now, this whole entire project, the most boring thing is putting these holes in. We found that the Forstner bit works the best, but drilling these holes it's definitely, without a doubt, boring. Now, of everything, we have the kids do it, but when it comes to putting those holes in there, we actually like the mentors to do that because we started out using paddle bits, and they can just really, it's a lot of torque in there. Even with the Forstner bits, I'm not a carpenter. I can't think of the name of it precisely. It can be a lot of torque. What we found is if you use a hammer drill, one of the impact, it's safer. It doesn't have the torque in the hand, and sometimes we can let the kids do it. But really, we just usually have the mentors actually do the boring side of it and put those holes in there. Man, did nobody get my boring jokes? Oh, man, it makes me so sad. Shine, thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate that. Oh, man, I'm super behind on all of these. John, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. It's not keeping up with the chat. I apologize, guys. I thought nobody was talking. And no, we don't have a drill press. We are using just the actual drill because we want them to see how to hold it and how to work it. We want them to see how to, all these little skills of holding the drill straight and using a hammer, how you can actually tap the screw in to hold it when you first get it started. All of these little skills are cool. They're fun. They're new to them. Dude, goodness gracious. I'm sorry. I missed so much of the chat. I'll try to keep up with that. So then they get to build that. Now it comes down to the side of the plumbing. And so what we have, again, separately, we have the PVC. So the PVC goes out. Aaron, we're on my YouTube channel. I just started a Grit Foundation's YouTube channel. We're on Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, and also, let's see, it was LinkedIn. So those are the ones that we're on so far. So the next thing we go into the PVC. And the PVC is the plumbing side, and it usually flows pretty good. Sometimes on the plumbing side can get stopped up, but in our grit camp, it flows really well. So on the PVC side, we had the sticks. It's a little bit longer than this. Originally, we had them cut down the sides, but we wanted them seeing that, hey, this comes in a long stick. So a lot of them didn't know that. So they go get their stick, and it has the measurements on here. And then they get to mark it, and then the fun thing comes of them cutting it. And, you sometimes you have kids get a little rowdy. You're like, hey, you got to cut it out. So there's a few different types of the PVC cutters. We don't specify which one has to actually use it. I love it when they start out with these and realize how hard it is and then give them this other one so they get to realize, oh, this is so much more fun. But here's things that we take for granted. Opening PVC cutters. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to, and it's the kids. They've never done this before. A lot of them have it. They don't know how to open it. They're just trying to figure it out. And the hardest part about being a mentor is letting them struggle, waiting for them to ask a question. So then they really get to figure out, oh, well, that happens, but how are you supposed to cut it? And then eventually they figure it out, or they'll ask you, and then you get to show them, hey, you just pull this open like so, and then they're like, okay, well, now what do I do? And then they get to figure it out. And sometimes the first one, they cut it wrong. I let them just cut a sample piece for the first time, and then they cut it, and then the first one comes out really wrong, it's really off, and then they're like, how do I cut it straighter? And then we start showing them these little tricks about twisting it. All of these things that we've taken for granted. But eventually they get to cut the PVC down where they need it, and then it comes down to the couplings, the fittings that they need, using the glue, using the primer. And this is a fun one. Seeing how big of a mess it is. The ends, like what do you do? How do you keep all of that from dripping? And we do put rags and towels down because we don't want to ruin everybody's floor. But then they get to really see, hey, these daughters, like, what do I do? Why do I have to use this? Why do I have to use the primer? And they start asking you these questions, and you get to answer. You get to show them. You get to talk to them about what you know. Hey, Michael. And you get to see, I forgot about that. I forgot. Like, sometimes you think, why do we do that? I've just done it for so long, I forget why. And they get to see about how to put the primer on there without it running everywhere, how to put the glue on, and which side to put the glue on. All of these things come together. But here's what's cool. They'll put it all together. They get everything glued, and I usually let them. I let them put all the pieces on. And it looks just perfect. And then I tell them, okay, well, now we got to get it into the hole. And then they realize, oh, it won't go through the hole because it's already glued. And so we also we include the couplings. So now we tell them, hey, how would you solve that? And you're like thinking, oh, we have to start all over. Nope, we only have limited pieces. What else could you do? And then we say, usually they figure it out, or we can share it. Then they cut it, they glue the other piece in, and they actually glue it into the box. And that's why this one has a coupling on it that's not in the blueprints, because we know sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes we make mistakes. We have to fix it. We have to solve it. So that's what's pretty cool, is getting them to see how to solve problems just like we do. I mean, isn't that awesome? I love it. So it's so fun. People are like, why do you let them make it wrong? Why don't you show them? No, we have to. We need to let them explore this. We need to let them figure this stuff out. Let it be theirs. We don't have to tell them every single thing to do. Let them figure it out. We're there to guide them, to help them. When they ask for the help, we guide them. If they're struggling for too long, we'll step in for sure. We'll help them and we'll get it forward, but we want it to be theirs. Sometimes the mentors will come through and they'll try to just do everything. Hey, do it like this. And then next thing you know, they've done the whole thing. I'm like, no. Let's let the kids do it. Let them do it. And it's really cool to see that. But then like PVC, I mean, that's cool. I mean, you get the sticks and stuff together, use some glue. But then we get into do some brazing. We take the copper and it'll be in a roll somewhere. I didn't bring a big roll of copper. But we'll leave the copper in a roll so they get to actually see about how to unroll it and how to make it go straight. That's a big part of learning. How to measure it. They'll be trying to measure it on the curve, like, how do you get this measuring thing to work? And then we help them. Hey, what if you unrolled it? How can you unroll it straighter? All these things we can just help them, let them discover. And then, of course, when they're going through, everybody does this. I think it's like a rite of passage. When you make the first cut, I just have them cut a little bit off the ends. And let them do it wrong. Let them tighten it too much and see what happens to the copper. Let them see that it crushes it. And they're like, oh my gosh, why did that happen? And they're asking you. They're asking you to teach them, why did that happen? And then you can explain, and then you can show them, and then you can show them a better way. And now they're like, oh, okay. Now it's not just you telling them to do something. They've got to realize, man, this person has the answers to solve the problems. They're now asking, they're giving you permission to tell them. And then so we get to cut it, and then we use the deburring tools, which I may have forgotten. Which, yeah, I did forget. But let them use the deburring tool and cut it and see what happens. Let them see the ends, figure out why. Once they get that put together, we have a air acetylene torch. A lot of people call it a turbo torch. And we chose this one specifically, even though I know they're loud. It's the easiest one. There's only one knob, there's one gauge, it's simple to work with, and we just have the different tips. But then we let them actually braze. We have buckets of water ready, we have rags ready, you're going to be right there with them, and they're going to be doing the brazing. And then we'll show them how to light it, we'll do some of the basic stuff. We'll actually a little less Socratic on some of those because we don't want them to get hurt. We make sure their hair is tied back. We make sure that, there's nothing loose, and we make sure the water's ready. Nothing's going to catch on fire. But this is a huge deal for them. A lot of us, they get to do adult stuff playing with fire. And it's not playing, right? It's a skill, but they get to actually see how the torch works. They get to see how to move heat across here. They get to see the brazing rod melt into this. They're getting to do dangerous adult stuff with you there, of course, helping keep them safe, but they're getting through to do brazing. Another reason we chose the air acetylene is because the color of the flame, you don't have to have the tinted glasses. If you go oxyacetylene, you have to have the tinted glasses, which is a whole nother level, and then you end up having a hotter temperature. There's like lots of things. This just made it simple. We also tried using the propane, and there was a whole other thing with that. We just found a turbo is the simplest way, air acetylene, and they get to actually braze. And we have some options. We have them braze a cap on the end, or sometimes we'll have them do the swaging on the end. Depends on what the local one wants. But now they actually get to braze all this together, and then they have to figure out, hey, if we braze this, how's that going to get too hot? What's going to happen with the wood? And so now they get to actually, for themselves, get to figure out, because they already learned the mistake over here, they get to figure out what to do here to make it work. Sometimes they take the backing back off, or they'll move the PVC and they'll put the wet rags on it, or they move the torch so they don't get it burnt. It's so fun letting them make these mistakes, letting them figure this stuff out. And you're right there to help them, to guide them, not to do it for them, but to make sure they're safe and they're doing it well. It's awesome. I mean, how cool is that to have kids playing with fire, right? I think it's so cool. I think it's so cool seeing these kids play with fire. I know the parents probably don't want to hear that, but the kids love it. They love it. And so they're over there brazing, getting it too hot. And it's okay that they make a mistake. It's okay that it's not perfect. We're not teaching them how to do all the brazing. We're letting them discover the skills. We're letting them discover these lost skills of the trades, right? We're letting them figure that out for their own. And it's so cool seeing how excited they are. And when they first light that torch, they're like, oh, this is scary. This is scary. We got the striker out there, and they're like, here, you do the striker. I'll do this. And like they're scared. But it just takes a few minutes, and then they're brazen. Yeah, I'm brazen. Brazen. Anyways, they're brazen. They actually love it. And usually somewhere right in here, every camp's a little different. We break for lunch. Right? Everybody's got to eat. But the class has not stopped just because we're having lunch. When we're having the lunch side, hey, now it's time to talk about science. It's now time for my favorite part, because now I get to do something for the lunch side. And I'm starting out helping people do the lunch side, but ultimately we want everybody else doing this. I want you guys doing the cool, fun lunch activities. So hold on, I can't talk and type numbers at the same time. There we go. Oh, I did it wrong. I am an Android person, so this is sometimes difficult for me. Here we go. We take a thermal imager and let them see heat. In HVAC, a lot of the stuff we do is hidden. But we let them see heat. Not promoting any brands. Let them see heat. Get a thermal imager. Let them learn how to actually see heat or use the thermal imaging camera. Right, hold on. I got to get this connected. I had to set up ahead of time. I promise it shut off. It's okay. It happens. Bear with me. Roar. That was a bear. Bear with me, in case you didn't know. All right, so have a little technical difficulties in this. It'll load up here in a minute probably. But we have a thermal imager, and let them see the heat. And it's cool because they get to move the thermal imager around. They get to act. Oh, there it goes. Yes, join. Doo-doo boop. Here we go. We're going to join. Camera view. Technology. Man, every time I am on the spot, everybody's watching me, and then have problems. Connecting now. All right, just takes a little bit. It'll load up here in a minute, I promise. Here we go. Add camera. Add to the stage. Here we go. So now we set this up, and we let them move this around, and they actually get to see the heat. Maybe I turn it this way. Oh, maybe this way. There we go. There's my monitor. There's the camera. We get to see over here the wall. Oh, there's a light. We tell them, hey, look, see if there's vents. Where are the vents coming from? And then, of course, they have to put it on themselves and their friends and be like, hey, what's going on? What do the different colors mean? What's happening? And then you show it on their food. Well, why is some of this hot and some of this cool? Oh, well, obviously lettuce is cool, you guy with horrible dad jokes. And then they're like, but then they start to put the pieces together, and they start looking at the heat and the temperature. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. And then they start looking around the room, finding where the supply vents are and the return vents, like looking at the wall. And almost every building we go to, there's a piece of insulation missing somewhere. but getting to play with heat. Like, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I still love playing with thermal imaging cameras. This is a small one I can travel with. Some people already have the big expensive ones. There's lots of options. Let them see the heat. Let them play with it. I mean, how cool is that? Thermal imaging. It's awesome. So that's what we do. We let them explore, let them see the heat. We'll even bring a scale in them, let them weigh the food. What's the difference between this, the meat that's heavier versus the bread that's lighter? We'll weigh it and let them see. And then we talk about heat energy and water. There's all kinds of cool stuff that we do. But one of my favorites, and if you've seen any of the presentations for the HVAC school, the air blaster, kapop, kapop, and they get to actually shoot each other with air, but we'll also set up cups, and they get to use air to knock things over because air has weight. How do we make the air exciting? We let them see it, we let them see heat, we let them actually see the air moving by knocking stuff over. Sometimes we'll take a green screen or a tarp and let them lift it up as hard as they can and pull it down as hard as they can so they can see that the air has weight. So much fun stuff we get to do in the air around us. I mean, there's a whole list of things that we do. We have the little drinking bird. We have all this little cool science stuff, and we get them excited. One of my favorite ones is the Bernoulli bags. We actually get them to inhale, and they blow into the Bernoulli's bag and inflate it. We close it up to see how big their lungs are, and then we take that back out and have them do it again with a little bit of space. And now they do it again, and then they found out there's more air. And they're like, why is there more air? And then we get to talk about the Bernoulli's principle. And then we go back to what we was talking about brazing and talk about how these holes are doing the same thing as them blowing into the bag and what's happening. And then you get to teach them some science. You get to teach kids science. Who in here likes science? Anybody like science? I didn't like science in school because it's all about memorization. But then I got into HVAC, and I'm like, man, we get to work with chemistry and physics. Like, this is science. This stuff is super cool. So it's fun to be able to show kids, like, hey, there's science and all the stuff that we do. We talk about STEM. Yeah, the HVAC is totally STEM. We have measurements, we have calculations, we have science, we got physics, we got chemistry with refrigerants. I mean, it's even the torch, the flame is literally chemistry. It's so cool. Yes, I'm loving all of the thumbs up, the science. Yes, this is awesome. So yeah, it's scientifically proven to be, cool, or less heated, I should say. Scientifically less heated. So. But yeah, so we do the lunch thing. We get them energized. We get them thinking about the air around them, the food that they're eating, the drinks that they're drinking, all this stuff. We get them thinking about all this fun stuff. And then we'll go back, let them finish up this part of the project, but then also we change it up. We'll use a smaller torch piece, and then we put a hole into aluminium cans, as I said in Australia. Aluminium. It's aluminum cans. We put a hole in it, right? We make it holy, and then they have to patch it. We let them use the torch and practice this ahead of time. This is fun getting to actually put, yes, thermodynamics, energy specialist. Somebody's been watching my videos. I love that. Rachel's here. Rachel is the scientist, Rachel Kaiser. She is the scientist that I'm always asking questions. She's a chemist, scientist, physicist. Like, I'm always asking her questions. Hey, I don't understand some of the stuff I'm asking. Like, I don't know. Teach this to me as if I'm 5. And she does. Like, if you don't know Rachel Kaiser, you gotta meet her. Jesse, cooler than rocket science. Absolutely. Yes, that's actually the hat that I have on. Anyway, so yes. But then they get to actually play with fixing the holes in can. And it's not that they need to be fixing holes in cans, but they get to see the difference between the heat that goes into the copper and the heat that goes into the aluminum cans. And it's okay that they melt it. It's okay that it's not perfect. It gets to melt the whole thing. Like, who cares? Let them play with it. Some people can actually patch the holes. And I was very stuck on a specific brand of the stuff using the patch the holes. I'm trying not to say the brand name. And then Craig was like having me do the experiments myself. And he had another brand that he liked. And I was wrong and Craig was right because the brand he used was way easier. So then I had to go back to Brian. And I'm telling Brian this. Brian's like, nope, this brand. I was like, I used to think the same thing. And Brian's awesome. But like Brian's like, no, let me show you. And he was having the same project. Nope, I agree. The other one's better. But that's what we do. We learn, right? We play with stuff and we learn. And we have so much fun doing it. But they get to actually play with aluminium. And it doesn't have to be aluminum cans. It could be a piece of aluminum. And what's cool is seeing the mentors, like, think, what else could they put together? one of the camps, they actually had scrap aluminum around, and they were trying to solder it together. It was cool, but they get to see the difference in the tips. Why do we have different size tips? And I mean, it's awesome. All the stuff that we do, and we just have to get it done, but we forget about the skills in it. We're talking a 6-hour course to do that, but we're not even all the way through yet. We still have to do electrical, right? The shocking side of it. And we know in HVAC we have electrical, but again, this isn't just for HVAC. It's introducing them to trades. And electrical, maybe they want to be an electrician. Some people don't like using a broom, so electrician's perfect for them. But we want to promote all the trades. Here we got carpentry, we got plumbing, we got HVAC, we got electrical. And so we bring the electrical side out. And the electrical is cool because, let me switch to camera view here. We're going to add a camera. We have these really cool little electrical kits. Ta-da! Right? Let me make some room. I get carried away. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little too, I love this stuff. It's the energy, yes. So I have these little electrical kits. And we put all this stuff out. But again, it's like the escape room. So before they get this kit to play with, to practice their skills with, we put a bunch of bad batteries and a bunch of bad bulbs. And then they have to get their meter. And by their meter, I mean it's usually one of the tradespeople out there that wants to bring. Brian, man, donated $100 to his own cause. Guys, this Grit Foundation, it's expensive. It costs money. Brian and Rashir have put their own money in to get this going. And at the beginning, there was so much just lost. We had to try stuff. We had ideas that hey, this is going to be great. And then it wasn't. And we had to modify. Brian had ideas that were great that were great. He had ideas that were great that weren't. I had the same thing. We've had to learn and make a lot of adjustments. This guide that we had, it seems simple. There was so much trial and error getting this going. He's investing in this all himself. So eventually we're going to need some support. We need some people being like, hey, we want to support this cause. We want to support the trades. And we're doing things for tradespeople. You can do $10 a month. They're working on challenge coins. They're working on different levels of stuff. You know me, I'd never asking for money. I'm not asking for money for myself. If you have it in your heart, you're thinking about it, and you donate to it, great. And if not, just spread the word about the trades. Talk to young people at trades. If you can, come in and actually be a mentor. If you can, host a grit camp, because these camps, they're expensive. You have to have, a time setting it up, time getting it together, buying the 2x4s, buying the lumber. Brian and Rashir have been like, hey, no, we want to make sure this happens. And they're making it happen. And he's putting in his own money to make sure it happens. And I'm driving across the country doing stuff, and we're getting these camps going, and it's a ton of work, but it's worth it. It's going to be awesome. So if you guys want to host a camp, reach out to thegritfoundation.com. If you want to be a mentor, you can also do that same thing. We're putting together a mentor course. This is going to be part of it, where you can practice in and be like, hey, let's get started. How do I be a mentor? And these are some of the things that we go cover, and then find a camp near you that's working. Or you can't do any of those things, and you can, hey, look, I'll donate $10 a month, or whatever you can, $5, $1. It's not a 407c. It's one of the other official words. I've been in HVAC too long. 407c is what I think of. It's a 50 whatever. It's a not-for-profit. It's a not-for-profit. You can write it off. You have to make money to write it off, but you can write it off. Anyways, super important. And if you can't donate, that's okay. Talk positively about the trades. When you see some young people say, hey, have you ever thought about being a tradesperson? That's how we make the difference. That's what it's about. Anyways, I digress. Back to what we're talking about here. The electrical. Use your meter, whatever meter you like. We had some meters donated. We've used them. It's difficult getting the meters and all the tools across. Yeah, show them your meter, whatever meter you like. But let them use ohms to ohm out a light bulb to see which light bulbs are good, which light bulbs are bad. Right? You can ohm it out. This meter becomes your ohmie, right? It's your best friend. So you can ohm them out. I've seen the mentors that didn't know how to do that. That's okay. You didn't know how to do that. You use the meter, ohm out, and then they get to see what happens if you touch it and you get a false reading. And then using volts, my friend Mr. Volta, John Travolta, to be able to find batteries. Which batteries are good? Which batteries are bad? We dump a whole bunch of batteries on the table, different sizes, good batteries, bad batteries. But then they get to use a meter to figure out how to find out if a battery's good or bad. You'd be surprised how many adults don't know how to do that. And that's okay. Like practice ahead of time. So now the kids are getting to do that. And they're getting to wire things up with these pieces. Hey, let's use ohms with the switch open. Now if the switch closed, what happens? What does the light bulb show? What is the voltage here? And then we actually go through the blueprints and we wire it together. And it actually has the stage in here where they get to wire this together. And they have wire it together, simple circuit, but then they can add, hey, what happens if we add a battery in series? What happens if we add a battery in parallel? What happens if we put bulbs in series and bulbs in parallel? We don't tell them, we let them discover it. And here's what's cool. Almost every camp, kids have gotten together and they've borrowed each other's batteries. And it's cool because these like clip together. Look, you can also get these from the HVAC school, all these little kit things, but they lock in like this, and you can put them in series so easy, or they lock in parallel. I'm getting totally distracted because this stuff is still so cool. They get to put the batteries in parallel or series, but then they'll work together. And they'll borrow everybody else's from other teams. They'll put all the batteries together and then put it to the light bulb. See how bright they can get the light bulb. And then eventually, guess what happens? Eventually, the light bulb pops. Pop! What a bright idea, just for a little bit. But then they're like, what happened? Why did it happen? And it's an opportunity to explain things. And it's so cool getting them to see the electrical. So once we get the electrical side done, and it's different levels, but then we have people like we have them come in and start taking something apart. Take apart a blower motor, take apart a condenser fan motor, get them to disassemble something and put it back together. I mean, because we love taking stuff apart. That's what I got in trouble when I was a kid. I'm still a kid. Who am I trying to kid here? I got in trouble all the time for taking stuff apart. All the time. And my parents didn't have a lot of money. They worked so hard. And I had to learn what made them work. How does this toy work? How does it work? So I'd take it apart. And it didn't always go back together. But it's great for a kid to be able to take stuff apart like we used to do when we were kids. Let them introduce that. So they take the fan apart, put it back together. And yeah, let them drop the screw into the blower wheel because that's reality. And we have them wear gloves. So that way they're not leaking red paint from their body, onto the fans because we want to keep that inside this little protective layer here. So the gloves help with that. But let them take something apart, put it back together. And then we get to the customization side. Now they've got to explore their skills. Now they get to customize this to make it their own. They had to follow instructions and do it to some other way, but now they get to actually customize it. They get to make this their own project. And here, this one, this kid is one of my favorite kids. He is so smart and fun. And anyways, he made everything. They put stickers on it. He actually hid the batteries behind the cardboard. And then we give them markers. They get to write with markers, draw stuff out, and then they get to glue their electrical in however they want. In this case, the electrical is here on the side. He decided to leave it wired in series. That's his choice, right? He put it in how he wanted it and customize it. Sometimes they'll take their aluminum can that they fix and they'll put it in here and they'll glue it in. Someone will take and draw markers all around it. Sometimes they'll get the torch and they'll paint it by burning it a little bit, making their own decorations. Sometimes they'll sand it down. And over here we have the cool little Grit Foundation logo. And what's cool was Jude took, we have these chompers that we recommend. And the chompers it's essentially a nibbler, but it works like one of those saws that go up and down on a table. I'm not a carpenter. Make fun of me. That's okay. But anyways, it works like that. They draw shapes out on cardboard and they run the cardboard through and they get to cut out shapes. Sometimes it's their initials. Sometimes it's their names. Some are like, nah, I'm not into that. Others are totally into it. But they get to make out these shapes and they get to glue it on their box if they want. We also we recommend having the Polaroid cameras, or now I don't guess they're Polaroid anymore, but the little instant cameras, and it prints it out. And a lot of these kids have only seen digital pictures, like having an actual picture of them brazing, of them doing this stuff. Now they get to glue that in their box as well. And so they customize it however they want. Everyone's different. And then they get to take this home with them. And the parents are like, what are we going to do with that? But for the kids, they did this themselves. It's something they got to do. They're proud of it. They take it home. This one did too, so I asked if I could have this. I didn't steal it, I promised. I asked if I could have it first, and he's like, yeah, you can have it. So they take it home, they put it on their shelf, and then their friends come over like, what is that? And then they get to tell them, oh, let me tell you about the cans. Oh, let me tell you about the brazing. Oh, we get to play with fire. Oh, let me tell you how this works. They get to tell people, and here's a picture of me doing it. So it's not just me telling you, like, I'm doing all of these things. And they get to show off to their friends how cool it is. And then their friends are like, hey, I want to go to one of these camps. When can I go? Let me ask my dad and see when the next one's coming up. And then you get to make an impact in your local community. It's not going to be the government entity is going to save us. I don't care if you're right, left, indifferent. Like, nobody's going to save our trade. We're going to be the ones that save our trade, right? This brainchild that Brian had was like, hey, how can we make I've tried so many things to make a difference in this trade. And when Brian's like, hey, I want to do this. You want to do it with me? I'm like, yes, absolutely. And it's been like one of the best things I've done. And Leilani, right? She does all this organizing, setting up all the meetings, getting the books down, making sure everything's working smooth. She made sure all the government stuff was done so we could have the 407c not for profit. She's amazing, and she has 10 kids, so she understands how the younger kids work. And I've had to learn. I'm literally learning. I just now learned what 6, 7 means, which really isn't anything. So I'm learning like how the younger kids work. And I have to, because they're saying these comments when they're doing stuff. I'm like, I get dad jokes, but I don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm literally learning a new language so I can communicate with these kids. But yeah, it's Leilani's amazing. She's able to organize all this stuff so that I can go and do what I'm good at. And it's absolutely awesome. It's awesome seeing so many people come together and be like, yeah, let's save our trade. Let's make a difference. Let's stop talking about the skilled trade shortage. Let's do something about it. You can do something about it. You can host a grit camp. You can be a mentor, show up at one of the grit camps and help out. You can donate to it, or you can just simply talk to people and tell them about the Grit Foundation, tell them about the trades, tell them about what you love about this trade. If you're grouchy, be like, I hate everything about this trade, then maybe keep that to yourself. But if you're like me and man, you love this trade, go tell people. Go tell them about how great electricians are and how great the plumbing is and how great carpentry is and how all of these things are essential. How we control the weather. We control the invisible air. We change it. And tell people about it. And if you're getting kind of down with the trade, be a mentor. Or at least just come and see one of the camps, because you get to see people getting excited and joy about their trade again. I mean, it's absolutely awesome. Perla's been in 99% of the grit camps, and I couldn't do this without Perla. She makes sure that I have everything that I need. And I'm like, hey, Perla, where's the guide at? She goes, oh, it's right here. Where's my clipboard? Oh, it's right here. Where's my safety glasses? I have a third set for you because I know you've already lost the other two today. So Perla's been absolutely amazing, and she loves this. She's a sheet metal girl before. She did duct work, worked in the sheet metal shop, and she's loving all of this stuff. So anyways, it's absolutely cool. And maybe start your thing. That's okay, right? I'm not pushing anybody to do anything, but I love this stuff. And hopefully if you love it as much as I do, you'll jump into it. If you guys have any questions, I'll wait around and answer some of the questions, but we're just about out of time. But I'll hang out here if you guys have any things you want to know about. I'm sorry, it's very one-sided. All I did was talk on it. But I appreciate you guys listening in. And, oh my gosh, here we go. Louie, man, I appreciate you so much. That is... Man, that's awesome. How do I make that show up on the screen? I don't even know. $50. Louis, I appreciate that. Means so much. The Grit Foundation, means so much to me. It really does. All of you people out there mean a lot to me. I appreciate the conversations that we have, the questions that people have, and the instructors out there that are helping the next generation, the tradespeople that have apprentices. You're helping the next generation. I appreciate all that we do. I appreciate all the hard work that all the tradespeople do that we don't get to see. All this carpentry that goes into the walls that nobody sees. I appreciate you. I see you. All the plumbers making all this work. Gosh, it's so important to the health of our society. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys out there and everything you do. I really do. Give the Grit Foundation a consider. If anything you can do to help out, we greatly appreciate it. And again, go to the website. It's www.thegritfoundation.com. I figured out how to put a really cool little ticker in, but I didn't get it done. And I actually had a PowerPoint to show you guys. Didn't get to it. That's how much I love the Grit Foundation. I'm willing to show you a PowerPoint. So maybe next time we'll actually go through that and cover it. Nick, man, thanks for showing up, man. You're awesome, Nick. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I'm going to hang around. I got a few more minutes left. You guys want to ask any questions about this? Anything you want to know? As far as setting stuff up, go to the Grit Foundation website, send a message in, send a message to Leilani. We'll get you set up all through the pre-check stuff to make sure it's ready. And hey, maybe you want to do a camp and it's not right for you. That's okay. It's okay. Get the guide and start somewhere. Or maybe you realize this is a whole lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Look at the details. I love the pictures, right? What kind of a book is it without pictures? So it has all the stuff. You like the imagery about the everything you need, the bricks. These are holy bricks because they have the holes in them, right? So how to set up the booth, how all the stuff you need, the what type of food, how to get the drinks. Like there's so much in here. And the cool thing is we want you to do that first one, but we want you to keep doing them. Keep going. Not just that one-time camp. Like do them like in the spring and the fall, and the winter, whenever it's slower for you. Start doing these camps, hosting them. And then here's the cool thing. Once you get this first one done, this is organized to make it easier. You can customize anything you want. You can add in welding if you wanted. You can take away other stuff you don't like. You can make it yours. Just get it actually started. And there is so much work in this book alone. And I like all these letters and writing stuff isn't easy for me. Thank goodness there's a whole team of people that work with this. And I go through it, edit, and modify. The first one, I thought it was really cool, and then and I didn't realize how bad it was until it was actually printed on paper. And Sue at True Tech Tools, she's such a sweet lady. She went through and was like, I don't understand what this means. I don't understand what that means. And that was the fire that I needed to really buckle down and make sure that we solve those to make it easier for people. Because some of the people getting all this stuff set up is sometimes office personnel that don't know what all this stuff means. So the book has like everything you need in it. I never thought we'd be putting together a book for the Grit Camp, but sure enough, here we have it. And it's detailed. It even has Socratic methods. I don't even know what questions to ask the students. Cool story. Yeah, we have that in here. What questions you need. Also links to stuff. And there's even these really cool images, how to set stuff up. So this can be on a PDF we can send to you. You can print it out. You can have a hard copy book. Lots and lots of options. What is the cost to host one? We don't charge anything. We don't charge anything to host one of these. We try to come out as whenever we can, but we'll send out the Grit stuff here. We'll send out those basic tool stuff. We'll send out the list for what you guys are need, and it's going to be a cost, but I can't put a number on it because you're going to buy the 2x4s. You'll have it's essentially 1 2x4 per student. You'll have to buy, it's essentially about a foot of PVC per student you have. So anywhere from 5 to 15, max 15. We don't want more than 15. About a foot of copper. You have the couplings, the fittings. So those prices fluctuate a lot. But we have the list in. You can go to put the list in, put everything together. And there's some optional things. Some things, say we recommend this, we recommend that. But we don't have it all put together to say hey, just send us this much money to do a camp for you. We want the host camp doing the work, so they understand they're investing in it. We don't want this to be we're going to pay some money and have this entertainment for the kids. No, we want it to be hey, you're investing in your local community, you're investing in the future. And once you put all the work in of understanding what happens, the first was the hardest. And once you do the first, you realize, man, that was so rewarding. We're going to do more. I've had so many people say, yeah, we just want to do one. And they're like, that was great. We're going to do more. It's, yes, Sue at True Tech is a whole True Tech team. It's amazing. Man, Bill Spone, Billy Spone, they're such caring people. Really, really awesome people. Just good people. They hosted a camp. That's cool. They hosted it over with the Fast Track Learning Labs, Chad Simpson, the Simpson Salute. They all work together to host one, and right there in Ohio. And it was really cool. All these camps. We've had so many camps this summer that were so good. And these first camps were trouble for people because they didn't have the guide. They didn't have everything listed out. So everybody's had to work. Craig Michelaccio, he did so much. His whole team spent so much time getting things lined out, what we needed, the difference between screws and nails. And there was so much work that man did. But all these first camps, we called the beta version, having to figure stuff out. And great idea. Bring it to Michigan. We actually just had one in Detroit. Bryn Cookski, he did it in Detroit. He hosted one. It's going to be awesome. I know my Delaware friends are going to have one there hopefully pretty soon. Hink, hink, wink, wink. Let's get that going. So yeah, we're going to get John Whitehead with Quality HVAC. I'm looking forward to hosting one there with him. So it's Yeah, we're going to do some really cool ones. It's going to be awesome. So I think we're just about out of time. I'll stick around just for a little bit more if anybody has any questions, but I greatly appreciate all of you. Chicago, yes, let's do one in Chicago. My good friend A-Team Adam, he's in Chicago and he wants to be a mentor at one of them. So yeah, that would be great. And then there's also some really cool museums in Chicago I want to go see. Maybe in the spring. Let's. No, I'll do it anytime. We'll come out there anytime. Iowa, yes. Honest HVAC in Iowa. I was impressed with Iowa. It's quite nice. Fantastic. Well, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out, go to the websites, send us messages, reach back to you, and hopefully answer any questions you have. And we'll do another one of these in, let's see, about 2 weeks from now. And I won't be at my studio to have all my stuff with me. We'll probably might be on the road. I'm not sure yet. But if you have questions and stuff, want me to see anything, want me to go over anything in any more detail, and then from that, the next one, I'm going to show actual pictures of some of these really awesome kids. Seattle, yes, we haven't been to Washington yet. We need to go to Washington. That'll be awesome. Hey, appreciate all the compliments. I appreciate everybody's hard work in this really awesome trade. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Never stop learning.